Good evening, everybody, and this is September. Wow, what September? Wow, 20th, 2023, rather. And this is the Android Insight Call brought to you by iBug Today. And I am your host, Hirsch. Unfortunately, my other co host will not be in today. That's Ava. But we look forward to speaking with you and answering your Android questions. This call is basically to help you with any questions you might have about Android, or you want to know the differences between your iPhone and Android. You've reached the perfect place. We talk about everything in between. As far as the A lady, we don't try to say her name because then everybody else's stuff goes off. Google devices such as speakers, you have your tablets, you have your phones, Samsung, Sony phones. So we cover a whole slew of devices, and we really appreciate for everybody to join us tonight. And just to give you a little bit of update from the iBugs Today website, tomorrow we'll have our Trekkie Talk, which is hosted by Jody. You guys should check it out. She's really cool over there. So if you really like your Trekkie, Star Trek, and stuff like that, that's a call to go check out, which will be tomorrow. And then on Saturday at 2 o'clock Central Time, we have our Apple Workshop. So hopefully you guys will put that aside in your schedule and come give it a whirl. You may learn a thing or two, you never know. So thank you again for everybody to join us today. If you wanted to find more about us, you could always find us on YouTube. At YouTube, just type in iBug Today. And under there, once you hit search, you could view the channel. And once you view the channel, you could go ahead and see the playlist and come back to any information. But let's say in between this time and next month, you want to have a question answered. You could reach us out on iBug Today, iBug Android Insight plus subscribe at groups.io. And there, if you just send us a blank email, it'll add you on the mailing list. And if you wanted to ask us questions in between, or if you have suggestions, that's a perfect place to drop your questions. And if anything, let me go ahead and I see a few people have trickled in here. So if you'd like, I'm going to open up the stage to you guys and let us know where you're coming from, what kind of device you have, and if this is your first time call.
Now, this is Helene.
Hey, Helene, nice to see you again.
Yes, I have an iPhone, but I have Alexa and Echo and several of those devices. So I thought I would try to ask a question tonight about that.
That is awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming by again. Matter of fact, I was listening to old recordings and you used to come a lot. So thank you for coming back again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else wants to introduce themselves, let us know where you're from, and give us a little bit about yourself. Android phone or not?
This is Foster. I'm calling from Houston, Texas, and have a Pixel 7 Pro, and I just got me a Galaxy 6 watch.
Excellent. So if anybody got questions, never mind. Sorry, I volunteer Foster. I laugh at things, but he's a cool dude. You'll find him on the list, and thanks, Foster, for posting on the list this week. All right. Anybody else wants to introduce themselves?
This is Shay from Seattle, and I have a Galaxy A32, a couple of tablets, several Miss A's and Googles, and I got some bone conducting headphones, not the aftershocks, but the $30 version, just to try out and see if it works for me.
That's awesome.
And I had a couple of questions for tonight, but I'm going to have to think of what they were. So glad to be here, though. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you again. And Shay, you're almost hitting a year mark, too. I've been looking at the past videos, so I'm just, some of y'all that keep coming back, I really, really appreciate it. So thank you, Shay.
This is my favorite call, and I wouldn't miss it for anything, and I'm so glad that iBug provides this for us. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So anybody else wants to introduce themselves and to let us know where you're from, maybe perhaps your device that you're using, anything like that?
Sure. Well, my name is Joel.
Hi, Joel.
I'm Joel Samant. Guess I'm not being honest. Hey, and I'm from California, Sacramento, California. And what do I have? I just got a new TV, new Hisense TV with the Google TV OS. So I'm I'm learning that. I have a Galaxy and an iPhone also. So I'm a hybrid user, and thank you very much, folks.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Yeah, we love hybrid users. I mean, you gotta be accessible everywhere, right?
Hmm.
Yep. So thank you so much for joining us again, Joel. And if anybody else wants to go after Joel, please feel free.
This is Renee.
Hey, Renee.
Hey, I have a Pixel Watch and a 7 Pro phone, a Samsung tablet, a lot of Google devices, and like Joel, who just mentioned, I mentioned last month that I just got the Hisense television. I've had it for about a month now with Google TV. So
Hey, I think last couple calls we learned a thing or two on those the Hisense things. Yeah, you never
yes,
know. When you have some questions, let's see what we got going for tonight. But thank you, Mr. Renee, for coming back.
sure.
All right. Anyone else wants to go ahead and introduce themselves?
Richard from New York, and I have the Echoes and my Android 11 shocks, and I also have the smart TV Amazon Fire Stick, and they are the insignias that I have.
Very cool. So, Mr. Richard, if you wouldn't mind, can I celebrate you today?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I like I said, I was flipping through the book, you could call it the iBug Today playlist on YouTube. So I think you are at 1 year anniversary day. Because I remember in September, Foster's like, hey, Mr. Richard, do you want to ask your question first? And you just waited for everybody else to ask their question. Just waited quietly. So thank you so much for always asking questions every month and coming back. And I think today would be 1 year that you've been here.
I was thinking of that myself.
If you check out September's call from last year, I think that's where I heard your voice first. So a lot of y'all are having anniversaries coming up.
Oh, I do appreciate it, and it was actually last year that I actually started to get into this level of technology because I never had anything on this level at all throughout my life. So last year when I first started getting it, the Commission for the Blind let me know about an iBug meeting that specifically talks about Androids, and so if it wasn't for these kind of meetings, I would have never gotten as far as I have.
Well, I truly appreciate it, Mr. Richard. Like I said, no questions are silly or anything like that here, and I just wanted to take an example. Like Mr. Richard's been here almost every call. I've heard him on a Trekkie Talk call too, and it's a community like this that makes me want to show up every day or every Wednesday, third month. So remember that this call is every third Wednesday. So if you want to let your friends know and what have you, that's every third Wednesday. Let's see, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Yes, it would be 8 o'clock here at Eastern time.
Yep, I'm in Florida. You're in New York, so. Yep, but thank you, Mr. Richard. And again, if anybody else wants to, introduce himself, we're a kind group. We won't bite you. Huh? I guess everybody's introed out, huh? Well, if that's the case, I mean, we. If anyone else wants to, I'll give it one more time because I just heard one more person coming in. So if you want to introduce yourself, please feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know where you're coming in from, perhaps if you have any Android devices. So I'll open this stage for you guys.
Yeah, it's Michael in Houston.
Hey, Michael. I think everybody might remember. Anyone know this guy named Michael here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you guys should go check out the buzz call in the mid break. You'll figure out who this gentleman is, but he's really cool. Trust me. But welcome, Michael.
Thanks.
All right, so the intros are over, and you know what? It just reminded me of a movie because of Mr. Michael just being here. So one thing you could also come back to if you wanted to come back this Friday is the movie Barbie. So if you haven't seen Barbie, come on by to the Friday movie night and feel free to, bring in a family and what have you. You got the audio description playing for you. So the same Zoom link that you joined in today, come back on Friday in the evening. It's 7:30. Okay, Eastern, Western, or Eastern Central is going to mess me up today, but it's 8:30 Central Time that they meet up until the movie ends. So definitely encourage people if you want to have some kind of entertainment while you're at it. If you're not into the whole tech all day, come have some fun with us. So if everybody has felt comfortable and are done with the introductions, we can move on to questions if that's the case. I'll open the stage back up to you guys.
This is Helene.
Hey, Eileen, go ahead.
I am interested in hearing if anyone heard of a security system called Simply Safe, and it works with the A Lady, if anyone has that hookup.
Anybody got a hookup? Wait, sorry, never mind. Anyone could help Miss Aline. Matter of fact, with the Simply Safe.
Yeah, there are a couple of things I think in them. One is
I think we might have a open line.
relationship, sort of the financial relationship between the national organization and the affiliates, and the responsibility of any.
All right. So, anybody have any kind of information for Miss Aline? I mean, I've heard of Simply Safe, Miss Aline, and I would say it's a trustworthy company for sure. I know that the Twit network used to advertise for them months back, and I've heard a lot of other companies advertise for Simply Safe, and I've heard it to be pretty straightforward. I mean, if you have any specifics that you want to know about?
Well, yes, I didn't know whether or not the pad. The reason it arrived today, and it is not set up yet, but they said you don't have to use the pad to enter, and you can use the A Lady and just say shut off alarm, and do some things with just doing it with that, so that you never have to use some of those either digital or touchpads.
Right. Yeah. And then I could see that working out in that fashion because, again, we're trying to get everything automated and everything else. Just the only thing I would see concern or a hiccup is just make sure your two accounts your Amazon account is talking to Simply Safe's account or what have you. So that's the only discrepancies I've seen in other apps in the past. Give example to like Spotify. You could merge Spotify with a account like your Google account and stuff, and so linking those accounts, make sure that if it's not linked, like just to make sure that you're linked up properly with the Amazon side. Therefore, you'll have the A Lady available to you to say, "Hey, turn off the alarm."
Yeah.
This is Renee.
Go ahead.
I haven't used Simply Safe. We use FrontPoint, and when we first installed it, you had to use it was kind of like a partner app called alarm.com. And I used to have to ask alarm.com to arm the system, but it would never let me use it to disarm the system, probably for security reasons. So I don't know. You might find that you can arm things, but it might be a little bit more complicated to disarm systems for security reasons. So I don't. Maybe they've changed something, and maybe they built something in to make that better. But I would just be cautious and understanding that because you do want to, if it is your security system, you want to be careful that it's never disarmed by mistake or anything like that.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Joel.
Go ahead,
I was
Joel.
just thinking, I don't have experience with the Simply Safe through Alexa, but I'm happy to hear that. What I was thinking was because Alexa is sometimes a little subject to your connection to the internet, you might want to be sure that you have an alternate way of turning off your alarm besides simply the A Lady. Otherwise, you could get stuck with an alarm going off and not knowing how. You may have also already taken that into account, but
no, I haven't taken anything into account.
Okay. If it were me, I would probably want a couple of ways to turn it off. On my home alarm system, the company I purchased it. They didn't give it to me, but I have a fob with just a couple of buttons on it that I can hide and that I can use to turn my alarm on and off because it it has a touch pad.
What's the name of your company?
It's called, let me think, Brinks Home Security is the service, but trying to think. They're a little more. I don't know if I would recommend them. I think they're kind of standard. I haven't had any problem with them. I just know that every time anything comes up, it always costs more money. So,
Mm-hmm.
but other than that, they're fine. Brinks, it's an option.
Yeah, and this is Renee again. I would agree with you about that fob because I'm actually thinking about getting one because I use to simplify things for me, besides memorizing my keypad, which does have raised buttons, so I can do that. But I have the app on my phone and I set it up so it does fingerprint recognition to make it faster for me to get into it. But um, there was some kind of update, and there's a couple of buttons on the app now that my screen reader are reading incorrectly. And so you do want something that you can rely on for something like your alarm system. So I think I'm going to look into getting a fob. So thank you for reminding me about that, Joel, because I think that is a good solution if it's an option.
Definitely sounds like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster.
One of the things is first we need. I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure Simply Safe has their own app to to connect with your Amazon, so that you can control it through your Echo speaker. And so you need to see what the app is, and also what commands that you can give it. Whether to turn it. Like you say, you can arm it, but you may not be able to disarm it through
Right.
because of security, like Renee said, because of security concerns. So check that out. See also if Simply Safe has some, they call it customer service, see if they have some accessible options that you can use like you said, in addition to the keypad. So that way, like Joel said, you'll have multiple ways to arm and disarm the system.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and I'll open up the stage if anybody else wants to ask their next question.
This is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster.
I have a question for Renee.
Sure.
How does your Pixel Watch work? How well does your Pixel Watch work with your Pixel 7 Pro?
It works fine with the Pixel 7 Pro. The only problem I have with all my devices is I'm still trying to work on figuring out how to make not everything ask me questions. And I've actually come to the conclusion that I love having the watch because I just press that one button above the crown and hold it for a second for the Google Assistant to come up. So instead of me having to say the keyword and everybody trying to answer me, I get my answers off the watch most of the time. And it's been my go-to. I got it, with cellular service, so that I don't. One of my biggest problems with my phone was I was always dropping it, and they've gotten so expensive, I can't afford to do that. So instead of me carrying my phone around a house or going for walks, I don't take it with me anymore. I just use the watch, and it's been very clear talking to people. Nobody's even known. I honestly think it might even be a little bit better than the phone with the speaker. With the speaker.
Oh, okay.
And I use it to set my alarms all the time. I'm on a steroid right now for my eye surgery, so I use it to set my alarms to remind me to take my eye drops. I use it to set alarms when I'm cooking. I use it to put my reminders on my calendar. And so it's been good keeping track of my workouts. It's working great with the watch. It took me a little time to get things, set up at first. My biggest problem now is I got to go watch a video to figure out how to change the band, the watch band. But other than that, it's I've actually been very happy with it. And since I got it on sale, that made me happy too. Because my real
Right.
big thing was just for me to not have to carry my phone around so much. I needed something that I could be cooking and I could answer the phone, or I could be doing something else. I could be doing laundry and I could answer the phone. I could be outside and I don't have to have my phone out there with me and wonder what the heck I did with, such an expensive device.
Right. Right. So did you ever find a case for your phone?
I did get one, and now since you mentioned it to me, I've seen a lot of them. It's like at first I couldn't find any, and now they're everywhere. I said, "Oh, I guess it just took a little while for them to get them out there." I don't know why. Now that the phone's being upgraded to another version coming out, now you got cases for it. But yeah, now they're everywhere. So
Yeah, I was about to ask you, like, wait, are you gonna get the Pixel Watch 2?
Uh, I am the person that when I used to drive would drive a car until the wheels fell off, and I'm that same way.
Yep.
And I
Good
am the
old Samsung
same
Note
way
9.
until they get to the point that they're not going to upgrade it because it is arduous to upgrade the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me months. I'm still not finished putting everything on my phone because every time I put something on there, I find something else that's not working right, and I have to put in an accessibility, ticket.
So Miss Renee, you mentioned a good thing. You mind if I share that real quick? So, Miss Renee said that she sent a ticket in, right? So, g.co/disability support. That's one quick way if you want to let Google know, hey, things not working right, or even if it's a Samsung device, if you have some issues. You could email them. You could get a hold of them through phone. They don't have a phone number, but they have a place where it says "phone me" and they will call you. And then if you also like, you could use Be My Eyes app, which allows you to have a camera on your phone. So for me, I used it for hooking up my thermostat, for example, and resetting it and all that. So it was cool to have a person live and they could see what's in front of me and walk me through the menus and click this and click that. So if anybody does want some support, feel free to reach out to Google Disability Support. Again, the website there is g.co/disability support. But thanks, Mr. Name, for bringing that up.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
With the watch, I don't know how descriptive the videos will be, but for the watch band, there's a little lever. So if to the right of the crown, there's a little button tab thing that you push in, and then you move the band forward. And on the side where the assistant button is, it's in the back. So it's on two different sides of the watch. And so you push the button in, and then you slide the band forward.
You know what? I started listening to something telling me about that, and I said, I'm going to have my husband do it because he can see what he's doing. Because my biggest fear is that I'll get it off and that I'll never get another one back
No,
on.
you just slide it. You
Just
just
slide it
slide
back
it
in.
back on. I don't even think you have to push the button. I just took it off, and you can just slide it back on. I think you push the button here. Yeah, and I just slide it back on, and it just clicks right in to
Oh,
place.
I'll have to give that a try because I bought a watch band that has a little bit more protection on it so that when I'm out doing things that I'm worried about hitting the watch a lot, that it would be a little bit more protected. So I'll give that a try.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, so if anybody else has any other questions, feel free to let us know. Thought I heard someone there. Did someone mention something? Nope. All right, so I don't know if anybody has been on our list lately, but I know Ava had posted. If you guys are mostly sound like Amazon folks up in here, but Google's better. Just kidding. If you are in the market of buying new goods and such, what is October 10th or 11th and 12th? I want to say it's in our mailing list. Ava had sent out, but if you're looking for cheaper stuff like your Fire Tablet 11, or maybe they have sales on other, tech and devices, maybe stuff that I could help you around the house. Amazon's having their sales, so just a little update there. And then along with that, you have the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro that are going to be released. Potentially Watch 2. And that's going to be all from the Google side of things in October, probably first or second week. Maybe Kevin might have an exact date, but
it's October the 4th.
4th. Okay, sorry, it's the first week then. So a lot of tech stuff going on. You know, Samsung just released new phones, and now we got the Pixels, and so if you're in the market for a new phone, that's the time to look. All right. So, anybody have any other questions, thoughts, concerns? It's kind of a quiet night, feels like, but I'm sure we could get rowdy pretty quick.
Yeah. One new person, did you figure out what your question was? The lady earlier, she said she had a question.
Yeah, this is Shay. Yes, I had a couple of them, and they one's already been answered, and I can't remember what the other one is, so I'm still working on that.
No problem. Thank you, Shay. So, Mr. Foster, let's talk about them devices that you keep buying and not sending them over for letting me try them or anything. You know, what do you got over there? Huh? What do you got?
Oh, well, you guys mentioned that Hisense TV. So does it have TalkBack on it?
Yes.
It does have TalkBack? Okay.
Yes,
and how
this
much,
is Joel. Yes, mine does.
How much memory's on the TV?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, because what I have
No
to
clue.
do with
talk about a techie talk call.
What I have to do with the because I have the Chromecast with Google TV, you know, the little stick that you plug in.
Uh-huh.
And I actually had to buy a dongle to attach a flash drive so I could have more memory because the memory's not that much. So what I did was for the apps that I could offload them to the thumb drive, and you know I can use them that way, but it frees up the memory on the Chromecast so that I can add more apps to it. So,
how many apps do you have on your Chromecast? I have 2 Chromecasts, and I have all the apps for my streaming services on there. I haven't had any issue with adding them.
So how many streaming services do you have?
YouTube
Roughly.
TV, Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, Pluto, Paramount.
Everybody, let's go to Miss Renee's house. She got all the channels.
Okay.
And I haven't had any problems with them. The only problem
so you got about 8 apps.
The only problem I've had with that and with the TV both is that with Paramount app, the talkback, when you're using it, you can't see the menu for the audio description.
Oh,
you have to disable, and I'm getting ready to go to that website and put in a case about that. You have to disable the talkback to see the menu to turn on the audio description, and then you can re-enable the talkback. Now, if you set up the quick buttons on it, it's not hard to disable and re-enable it because they have the 2 buttons you can press, the back button and the up volume or down volume, one of those, to do the quick on and off for the talkback. But it won't. That one app is
so the Paramount's not really accessible in that aspect.
In the Chrome environment, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I have about so you got about 8. Well, between the streaming services, the smart fireplace, I have the Rain app, some other apps. I got about 20 apps.
Oh my gosh!
So that's why I had to offload some stuff.
We'll have to come to you for our recommendations, our TV recommendations.
Smart fireplace.
Well, actually, if you type in fireplace, there's a bunch of fireplace apps, like White Log. There's a bunch of different ones, and you can kind of like set the mood or whatever.
I always just went to YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and would
Yeah,
pick
you
one.
can do them on that one. But they have some they have a lot of them that are free. One's called Blaze, and you can use the free version, or you can get the paid version, which gives you a little like more different looks of fireplaces and stuff.
Have you run into the
This is
issue with the device with the remote being a little bit jumpy on Chrome?
Yeah, especially when the batteries get. I had to change my batteries out.
Yep.
But another thing I'll do, and I have to be careful because, like I said, my wife hates that all this stuff is connected. But I have to be careful because, if you have an Android phone, a lot of times if you jump on YouTube and somebody's already looking at YouTube on the TV, it'll ask you if you want to control the TV from your cell phone. So I have to make sure not to do that. And the other part I like about it too is that if you do have the Google TV, you can use even if you can't find your remote, you can use your phone to, as a remote for the TV.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Joel.
Go ahead, Joel.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question related to this. Since I just got my TV, what were two things? One thing, what was the shortcut key combination to turn talkback on and off? That would be very handy for me to learn. I didn't know about that. And the other thing is, are there any tips or tricks anyone has for connecting your mobile phone or using it, through Google Home or however to control your TV? I'm interested in both those things.
Yeah, so the first one, I think Renee said it was what you do to hold down the back and the up on the volume, right?
Yeah, it's either back and up volume or back and down volume. I think it's up. Those two, you press and hold it for like 3 seconds. But you have to activate it. You have to activate the shortcut in the settings.
For talkback. Yeah.
For talkback. You have to say
for talkback.
You have to activate the shortcut in talkback.
Probably under accessibility settings.
It's under where the talkback is under that in the accessibilities under talkback. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
And then the other part is so if you have the Android phone, right? And then you have the Google Home app.
Yes.
Then you can link your TV up with your Google Home app, tell it what room it's in, and you can also control you can also control some of the stuff on your TV from the Google Home app. But there is a TV remote. Like I know on the Pixel 7 Pro, there's actually a from your what is it, your when you do the notifications and the drop down with your controls, you can actually put the TV remote in that drop down and turn it on and off from there.
Oh, handy info.
Yep, mine comes in my drop down.
Right. Yeah. So you can use the remote that way. You can connect it to your Google Home and then go into the Google Home app and whichever, like if you have it in your living room, you can go look under your living room and you can see the TV and then you click on it and you can like control the volume and mute it. You can do a couple other things with it. But the TV remote app is the one that will actually help you control like the regular remote, moving around, choosing different services and whatnot.
Yes, Foster, thank you. And, with the Google Home app, it's the same procedure for any device. So if you were to put a display, a Google display, or a Nest Hub thermostat, even a light bulb, you would go through the Google Home app. And then as you're adding a new device, it should go through a list. What are you attaching? Are you attaching a smart device or a partner or a product, etc.? So go through the wizard that it provides you, and it should give you almost like a square box if you have some sight, if you're low vision, and each little So like each light is a different box, and I could control it with volume up, volume down, and stuff like that. So um, I'm sure with the Hisense and stuff, I haven't done TVs in a while, but any other device like my Nest displays, they similarly work exactly by adding the device, and then I could change the volume or if I have a content on my phone, it'll say, "Hey, do you want to play this on the TV?" And most of the times, if you have a display, it'll tend to play on those displays. Or if you have a TV hooked up to it, it'll say, "Hey, do you want to play it on XYZ TV name?" And it'll just push it off to the TV.
And this is Renee.
Go ahead, Renee.
Just a general comment, if for anybody, if you're not doing this and you run into the problems I did with remotes and losing them because I could never see them and they get slippery and slide places, those silicone covers are the greatest invention in the world for me. And as soon as I get a device, whether it's a Chromecast or a Fire Stick or a smart TV, I order the covers off of Amazon. And they come with a little handle strap. Most of them do too. So that Hisense TV has one. You can order off Amazon. I got one that was like a bright orangey red or something, which did a good contrast with the remote. And because they're so slippery in my hands, and it makes it easier for me to find the buttons too, because of the cutouts make it a little easier to find the buttons too.
Thank you.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I've never seen the Hisense remote, but on the Chromecast with the Chromecast, the one that has the remote, you can hold down the home and the back button to start TalkBack, and I did not have to go into the accessibility settings. It started automatically. Most of the Roku and all the ones that have a voice guide of some sort, it is supposed to be set up so that you can turn that on without any assistance. So I don't know. I've never seen a Hisense remote. I don't know how much it differs from the Chromecast remote, but holding down the home and the back button, which are on top of each other on the Google remote, is the way that you start TalkBack and turn it off. If that is not working, if you can locate your assistant button, which on the Google TV feels like a little microphone, you can hold that down and say start TalkBack, and it will tell you if it's able to do that or not. It'll say I'm not able to interact with TalkBack, or either it'll start TalkBack.
Very good point. Thank you, Kevin.
This is Richard.
Go ahead, Richard.
Yes, and it's weird that my TV insignia and everybody, what they're saying, mine is the same thing. It's the menu and back button, and I had to reset my bedroom TV. Bad storms we've been getting here, and weird as it sounds, the living room TV was fine. And we lost power, and I'm out in the living room when power comes on, and in my room I'm hearing ding ding. I'm like, why is that TV coming on? Nobody's in there. And come to find out, it wasn't talking, it wasn't saying anything. I'm like, what is going on? Why? I even tried to push main menu and back button, and luckily I have 8 service, so she looked at it and she's saying, I even had to call into Insignia because nothing was working. We had to run through all kinds of things to just get it back. But right when you first set up, in even setup mode, you can push the talk back and turn it on just by pushing the main menu and back button, and it will automatically turn the talk back feature on. And I was wondering, how do we stop that from happening with the remote? Because I got that same problem. When I'm going through the apps, it just clicks, like I just push it once, and then all of a sudden it's jumping and just going all the way to the end and jumps all the way down to the bottom. Is there any way to stop that?
Anybody have some suggestions for Mr. Richard?
Is that a Chrome remote?
No, he's talking about Fire. The
Fire.
Yeah, it's
okay.
a Fire Stick
Insignia Fire
Insignia.
TV. Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's, with talk back on, or like in the case with Fire Stick Voice View, it's just a glitch. It's just a glitch. So,
Mr. Richard, if you may, next time try hitting the play pause button while it's rambling whatever is it's detailing to you. Because I remember they threw something in there which, when people add these accessibility tools to try to help us, it usually confuses us, just like we're all confused about, is it back, is it down, is it which button's which? And yeah, Kevin, like you said, he's right. If you get out of the box, any of these devices should give you talkback, regardless of, once you turn it off, let's just say in the settings, then maybe, yeah, you might have a hard time. Then you have to go to the settings and accessibility and then turn it back on manually. But out of the box, it should not have any discrepancies, especially in 2023, right? So it is good feedback to give to Insignia and such. Insignia is a Best Buy brand, but it's hard to kind of combat this issue, right? Because we just want it to work the same way it works. I forget what the buttons are on the Fire Stick, but Fire Stick has its buttons too, where voice view turns on. It might be home and down or something. Again, like, there's so many things to keep in our brains.
That's the main menu button and back button turns
Menu
the
and
voice
back.
view
There we
on
go.
and
Okay,
off.
yep. Yep. Thank you for jogging my memory there. Yep. So those two, and what it feels like is there are two circle, you could call them pill buttons on the left and right of the remote. In the middle is your home button, and then you could feel they call it a D-pad, so up, down, left, right. So when we speak about, let's say, the Chromecast, and we were talking about back and down and up, and what we mean by the back is actually there's a back button. There's a physical button that you click it and it'll go back. Not necessarily hit the left button that might go back in in rewinding or fast forwarding. So just to be certain that we all are on the same page when we're explaining left, right, up, down, and the best thing to do whenever you buy a device is just look up the quick accessibility button to toggle it on, or if you could look in the manual. It just saves time for the future, and hopefully we could get companies to get better at it, because I know Sony, for example, on their TVs, they have two screen readers. They have their Sony screen reader and they have TalkBack. So again, nobody sent me a TV or anything to test out. Sony, I'm listening. I'm here. We could figure this out, because all these devices, at the end of the day, we're spending good money. We just want access. And maybe, for, like Mr. Renee mentioned, our husband likes all the 4K, yada, yada, yada. But I'm a sound junkie. I would love to have proper sound. So, how do we figure out even TalkBack if you're trying to use TalkBack? And how can we get, headphones, and then people that are in your family could watch it through the TV speakers? Or someone might be deafblind. So, these little things do matter. And again, I could only just say that we need to communicate our needs to these companies, because that's the whole point of this call, right? Android. I mean, people say, well, Android is not accessible, but they're talking from 2015, right? They're not talking from 2023. And I found, and Kevin and I and others on this call, Foster's used different companies, OnePlus, for example. And we get to learn the discrepancies between Samsung, Pixel, and all of the various companies that do their own little flavorization to their operating system, per se. But that doesn't mean the core of Android doesn't change, right? So how you use your phone as a Pixel phone may vary slightly to a Samsung phone. Mainly for Samsung phones, I like to recommend them to low vision users, because the display is far superior right now with what Samsung has done to what I would recommend on the Pixel side. But for screen reader users, Pixel phones are hands down the best phones you could get, because, again, it's coming from Google. And no one's paying me to say all of these things, by the way. So just let's make that clear for YouTube and all of that fun stuff. But it's just from, sheer experiences, and how can we push forward. And even if we wanted a mid-range phone, what is the best recommended phones? I know companies these days want to give you whatever phones, right? Like A11, A15. Well, they have a hard time because they don't have much memory. So when we have these questions like, how much memory does a TV have? We just want to know, because we don't want TalkBack to be bogged down. We want to remain competitive with our family, right? With whatever's on TV, and watch what we're watching and they watch what they're watching. We don't want, hey, honey, can you fix the TV for me? Because I can't. We all can. And just empower everybody on this call. Just ask your question and don't feel shy, because I'm sure if you don't know it, we'll find a way to figure it out. And later down the road, we might get that as a setting in our accessibility tools. So if anyone else has questions, I'm going to now let you guys.
That what I was talking, this is Richard, that part that I was talking about of where you're using the arrows up, down, left to navigate through your apps on the TV, where just all of a sudden it starts jumping without you touching it. That's just a glitch. There really isn't a way of stopping that.
The glitch, sorry to say, is a marketing term. Well, sir, you could buy these brand new 4K Fire Stick and your problems will be solved. So again, will it be really solved? We don't certainly know. You could record it, send it to the disability desk over at Amazon. Be like, look, guys, here's a recorded thing. This is what your product does. We gotta be able to express how it's doing this wrong, right? We can't just say, well, this doesn't work. What doesn't work? This call is working. I could hear Richard. What do you mean? Well, this is working. So we can't just complain this doesn't work anymore. We need to be a little bit more, mindful to see how can we solve the issue, or if something we don't like. The glass sometimes the glass on these watches are frail. So we got better bands, we got cushions, we got screen protectors, and so again, to everything there is a solution, but always feel free to ask us on the mailing list. It's again, IBUG, Android Insight, plus subscribe, the plus sign, subscribe at groups.io. And again, sending us a blank email. I've been reading the emails, and that's why I was glad that Ava put in that October 10th and 11th for Prime Day, whatever they call it, Prime something. And then Foster put in the case, right? He sent a couple of links for cases and stuff. So anything you guys really are interested in, I know we're not here every week. We could be, but we need more people. We need more questions. So just reach us out on there, and if we can't find it, we'll dig around. I mean, that's what we're all here for, right? We all have some limitation in our vision, and we're just trying to help each other out. So I do appreciate everybody coming on tonight.
And the other part that I have with my TV too, this is Richard again, the apps that are signed in, I don't know if everybody else has that problem. Recently, I just came across it. It happened twice. You get updates to your networks and our TV apps. They send these updates, and I recently found it out because I went through it twice. It signs me out. The update, and all of a sudden I'm signed out, and I'm like, why does it do that? And is there something I'm doing wrong to stop it from signing me out, or does that even happen to other people? And if there is a way to stop that from happening.
Do we have any solutions for Mr. Richard?
Unfortunately, Richard, that I hate that too. A lot of times when they update, it will sign you out, and then you gotta sign back in on the app. When that's frustrating, because that even happens on the cell phone with certain apps that you get, and when they upgrade, they'll kick you out, and you have to log back in all over again. So you can complain to the app, the company that manufactures the app, and then also, like Hershey said, when it comes to accessibility, like Amazon's really gotten good with their voice view, which is like talkback, and they've also gotten really good with the because I'm low vision like Hershey, with their magnification feature on the Fire Stick, because I use that and I was like, wow, this is really it's easy to use, and I thought it was going to be real jumpy, because sometimes, like when I'm using like magnifier on my Windows PC, it can be kind of flickery and acting crazy. But even the magnification feature works well on the Fire TV. So I don't know what Amazon's contact information is, but definitely contact them with those particular issues, so that they can be made aware of it, or they can say, hey, yeah, we've had several people complaining about this, we're trying to work on it.
Great points. Yeah, this is the difficulty between the different companies. Everyone wants to do their own flavoring, so unfortunately we do have to knock on Amazon's door, and then if not, knock on Google's door, and they'll take care of Samsung and all these other Android devices for you. but those are two Amazon or Android players in the game right now. So you know what? Let me quickly toss in a question since we were talking TVs. What do you guys think of this YouTube TV app? I mean, I'm Spectrum. They disappointed me because to have their DVR is almost like $100, and I think DVR should be a accessibility tool because I know I live in a hurricane city area prone for hurricanes, and to grab phone numbers off of a TV and use Google Lookout and grab the OCR or whatnot of it, it's so much more easier to do. And I don't think companies are really realizing that they're taking away accessibility by not giving us DVR or something, right? Because or they're charging you extra. So it's $12.99 extra or something for DVR, and then their plan was like $83. I'm like, too expensive just for TV, right? Just for regular old TV. So YouTube TV is $72.99 with taxes, roughly like 82, 83. But that comes with DVR on it. Now it's been some time, and I still haven't gotten around to get my Chromecast. I was going to get one soon enough, and then we have so many devices, right? So, what is your guys' take on the YouTube TV app and recording and just usability? Do you guys find it that it can take care of your local cable company, or do you feel that it's still inadequate?
This is Renee.
So
Go ahead, Mr. Renee.
ladies first. Go ahead, ladies.
Okay. Well, I've had YouTube TV for a few years now, and I chose it because it was the only one that was a live streaming replacement for cable that gives you your local stations that also had audio description. Hulu Plus doesn't have it. Sling doesn't have it. Some of the things that are pseudo live, but they don't really have your local stations, are starting to get some. But YouTube TV will give you your cable experience as far as what you can watch. It will give you audio description as long as it is provided to them, and I'll get to that. It does give you the DVR, and it gives you an unlimited DVR that will keep whatever you DVR for 9 months. So you could DVR everything. You can DVR as many stations as you want to, so you can always go back and watch it. I will caution you that when they do also have VOD, and sometimes those files get a little confused in your library, so you might have to select a version, because if you do DVR, you can fast forward through the commercials. If you do VOD, you can't. And there is an issue. The fact is, I wrote a paper about it if anybody's interested in reading it. Me and my husband, we went through, because YouTube TV they don't have the audio description. They have the SAP channel, and but there's been an issue, at least in my region, for the last year with ABC and NBC. First, it was NBC. NBC's been going on for almost 2 years, where they're not passing through the audio description because NBC, they decided that instead of pulling it from the local channels, that they were going to give it from a central distributor, and that distributor is not passing through audio description. Turns out that the distributor does not fall under FCC rules. And so right now I'm kind of at an impasse. I'm fighting them right now about that. ABC has done. Look, I'm on the audio description group with American Council for the Blind, so they're trying to help me. And then also ABC started doing something similar, and the local stations are pissed off, and because they want to pass through the audio description because it makes them look bad. And also, I'm a little bit geeky on this and nerdy on this because it's a passion of mine, and my husband was a broadcast engineer for 35 years. So he is a certified, whatever you call him. He's got his certifications for all the broadcast engineering. He's a member of SMT, Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers.
2110. So
we wrote a white paper about our troubleshooting issue, if anybody is ever bored enough or wants to go to sleep to read it. So YouTube TV is in a nutshell, YouTube TV is the best, in my opinion, replacement for any type of cable TV if you want to have audio description, and they will pass it through if it is given to them. So that's where we are right now with YouTube TV. And if you ever want to know about how to do it, on the audio description project website, they have a page where they have stuff about using different services. They have YouTube TV on there, and I gave the webmaster a description on how to use audio description on your YouTube TV, what steps you go through to turn it on and to turn it off.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nate. That's
Okay.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I
Go
like
ahead, Foster.
about it is I don't have it anymore because we weren't really using it. But another thing I like about it is that you can have up to 6 individuals can have accounts, and each
Correct.
individual has unlimited DVR. Um, if you actually want to download, like you know how like with Netflix, you know how you can download series on your phone and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to subscribe to 4K, which I think is, I don't know if they raised
$9.99
the price.
extra.
Is it $9.99?
Yep.
Because it was 20. It was 20. So it actually went down because at one point it was $20 to add the 4K. So now
There's
it's
some
lower.
interesting things if anybody wants to. We're talking about YouTube TV here on this question, so they have some interesting things like you could add Showtime and Max and all of these other things to it, and run it straight through YouTube TV as your main provider, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. So accessibility is what I look at. I mean, the DVR box coming from so Spectrum has a new box coming out called Zoomio. They're using a type of what do you call that thing? Roku styled box. But Roku has rubbed me the wrong way the first time I ever tried Roku. Personally, I never liked the TTS engine. It was really nasally and annoying. Uh, to me, Amazon has taken our voices with Ivona, so Voice View has the better voices. And then Google's doing their best to give us some voices, and then you have if anybody does want to download other text-to-speech voices while we're at it, even for your regular Android phones, Vocalizer Voices is still available. So if you use JAWS, you might be familiar with the Tom or Ava, Samantha, etc. And so those voices are available through Vocalizer Voices at $3.99 US per voice, unfortunately. But of course, there's acapella and all of these other this plethora of TTS engines. But how I kind of chalk it down to is, does the engine and the Roku, does it give me a seamless movement from one screen to the other, and is there a good workflow in gaining accessibility with whatever you're trying to get to? So maybe it might be decent. I heard it was a partnership between Spectrum and Comcast or something like that. So we'll see what's down in the pike if anybody does come across some of those devices. And yes, they're Android based as a platform is concerned. And like we said earlier, the Google Home app is a really powerful tool. And you might just be able to control any other devices straight from your phone and not even deal with remotes and others. So always keep that in mind that there might be a solution. If you just ask, you might just have an answer for that.
This
Can
is
I ask,
Renee.
can I ask you
Go ahead,
to
Renee.
repeat maybe
Oh,
what,
go
Renee?
ahead, Joel.
To repeat the website of the audio description
Oh,
project
Yes.
site?
If you want to, I'll leave it to you, Miss Renee.
I do believe it's acb.adp.org, if I remember
I
correctly.
believe that is 100%.
Acb.adp.org. And they list everything on there, what's audio described, which services carry it, whether it's a network or a streaming service. They'll have articles about, what, news added. They even list you what DVDs have audio description and things like that, even though that's getting less and less. But I did want to mention that Foster made a really good point about the profiles that you can have on YouTube TV, because one of the things that makes it simpler for you for navigating is if people don't go on your profile and only you do, that on your home page it starts to learn what you like, and it usually has right queued up. It knows I always watch, the news in the morning and what channel it is. So it does that right away. It's usually the first thing that pops up. And also, if you've started watching something, even if you haven't DVR'd it, it'll keep like 5 or 6 things in its continue watching section. Even if you haven't DVR'd it, if you had to leave the house and you want to go back to watching something that you didn't finish. So it's very convenient in that respect, to be able to do things that make it easier for you to navigate to what you want.
Thank you for that information.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got about 30 more minutes, I suppose. And if you have questions, Michelle,
And
do you?
you know what?
Foster?
This is Foster.
Go ahead.
another thing to consider too, because I don't know if y'all like me. When I get home, I don't really want to use my phone a whole lot because of the small screen. So if nothing else, you can get you don't have to get a high end tablet, but you can get you a maybe an 8-inch tablet, something like that, and you can use that to control all your devices, control your TV and stuff like that, and you have something a little bigger to hold. And if you do have some vision like myself, then of course, it's the screen's bigger. You can make the fonts bigger and stuff like that. You can still use that to plug in with your other Android devices.
Thank you, thank you.
This is Shay. I have a
Hey,
question
Shay.
about the TVs.
Sure.
And so we have the huge cable package and pay hundreds of dollars a month just because we wouldn't know how to use a TV without the standard cable box and the menu and things. But the YouTube TV is sounding really good. My question is, how do you get the Wi-Fi to come in your house? Because we have that along with our cable package. Do people just do that?
Hey,
Does
Shay.
somebody
So,
provide that? Can you get just cable or just Wi-Fi through your cable company?
hey, Shay, this is Hershey. Yeah, that's exactly how I went about it because when that DVR cost came up, I'm like, $12 for what? I could go to YouTube. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's free. It's there. Like, it made me just question it because, again, rewinding something, it's giving me access to get back to something that I might have not been able to hear. Right. For others, it's what they didn't get to see. I'm not necessarily worried about recording a bunch of episodes so I could come back to them, but just fast forward and rewinding to me is really important. So it's
Mm-hmm.
part of your DVR package. But in this case, if you just wanted to, let's say, get Wi-Fi from, if you have, let's say, Spectrum or there's so many Verizon,
Comcast, yeah.
AT&T, etc., you would just get your internet package and then don't worry about the other stuff. And then $72 replaces all that other stuff. And you know what? While I'm at it, I'll talk to you about my experience this week. If anybody is interested, the Affordable Connectivity ACP program. I want to say it's ACP is the name of the program, but Affordable Connectivity Program. So what that does is it gives you $30 off your internet if you're low income or if you get Medicaid or any of those SNAP. If you get any of those, and then addition to that, they give you $100 off of a device, which the terminology was weirdly written. It said you have to pay more than 10 and less than 50. So that just tells me you have to get a device for $50. What?
Hmm.
I, things are more expensive than $50. So that part confused me. But if it said $100 off of a device, as Foster is mentioning, these tablets and things, if it's a one-time thing a year, you may be uh, able to use that as a resource and be able to get your Fire tablet, for example, right? And have you some internet and such that. Yesterday, I was so bored out of my mind that I opened up the Prime app and I haven't heard news in God knows how long. So I looked through it and I looked through the live section. And for example, on the live section, it had CBS News. So at least I knew what was
Hmm.
going on in the world, right? So it keeps us informed because I didn't know Lee hit Canada. I was out and about in my own world. I didn't know Lee was about to hit me here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean. So it is important to be stay informed. I mean, granted, we have our phones, we have our Androids, we have this, that, and the other. They're all connected, but how do we go about using them? So Shay, that's a wonderful question. Like, how do I get rid of these things? Call a cable company and say, hey, I just want your internet. Maybe with your internet, you get like the gig package, right? 1 gig internet. That might cost you $80. Now, with this $30 off, that costs you $50. So again, we want savings for anyone that could use it, right? We all struggling these days, and so just know that there are resources out there. And I wish maybe YouTube TV would go on sale, but
They,
$72 isn't terrible. But you do get your locals and everything else.
I think they have a 1 week trial period or something like that. That's about it, I think. Every once in a while, something runs for it. And speaking of, I don't know where you are region wise, but I think that right now, Spectrum was running a special for cable television of like $50 a month. and it also included cell phone service.
Which is really interesting. And funny enough, I yelled at him. I didn't yell at him. I told the sales guy, I was like, first off, please don't sell any more A11, whatever, A1 something phones to people. Please don't. I was talking to the sales guys, like, look, at least get to A30, A50 something. Let's not go A11, please. Because you're taking away from our blind folks, man. I was like, or low vision. I mean, we're all the same thing, right? We're taking away from our need. And to have that phone, oh yeah, it's free, it works. And then you come home, you're like, I need to call Kevin because Kevin helped me with the. And Kevin's like, well, you have an old phone, you need a new phone. And it's like, what the world, Kevin? Why? So thank you to Kevin. Thank you to I think any of you instructors out there. Thank you so much for dealing with us humans. As sometimes it is difficult, but we all learn together, right? And this is where I've learned from amongst you guys, and every month I get to learn from you. So really appreciate the questions. Thank you, Shay.
That's Richard.
So
Shay, you want to finish off your thought, and then I'll go to you, Richard.
this kind of ties in with the cable and the cell phone. So we have T-Mobile, been with them for 25 years, probably aren't going to go anywhere. Called to ask them a question the other day, and they asked if we wanted Wi-Fi for our home, and I said no, I just have this other question. But does anybody have experience with that, and is it reliable? Is it any good?
Question.
That's what I was going to be asking. I was not going to ask my own thing. I was going to, if you have internet already, Shay, or through your cable, do you already have internet through them and a modem or so, or what is it you have?
Yes, we have everything through the cable company. So Wi-Fi, TV, security. We don't have the cell phones. That's the only thing that we have elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the Wi-Fi is hooked up to your TV already, or you have smart TVs that need that, or?
We do have smart TVs, but I think the Wi-Fi just comes into the house. There's a box for it on its own.
Because if you have Wi-Fi and you need the network and stuff like that, usually you can find that on the back of the modem. They give you the modem, and the password is right there, and your network is right there. So you already have it. All you got to do is just look it up on the back of the modem and look up your network on the modem and go to network. So if you have your phone, cell phones, if you have smart TVs, go to the settings and go to where it says network, and your network should be right there, and it says this is available, this network is available, meaning it's yours, and then just put the password into it, and you're set. It's active right then and there.
Thank you.
I would say, I don't know. I would just quickly chime in about the different kinds of about internet access. I'm with the group that purchases internet access only, and no cable TV package. And I do have a friend who went from cable to like 5G, a 5G internet connection through their telephone provider. And they were, what was I say? He wasn't that happy with it. He said it was okay. It was definitely less expensive, but he got rid of all his cable, all his cable services. They were paying, hundreds of dollars, and it was cheaper, but he said it wasn't as reliable as he had hoped, or was kind of as it was sold. And I don't know what his remedy was for that. If your cell service provider will give you a hotspot or something to help out. But he said it was, so the bottom line is, sorry, it's a long explanation. It was less expensive, but not quite as reliable as his cable. So that's just one case. So I'll shut up.
Kevin, I think you had something.
I've tried out the T-Mobile service and it was good. It was not. I have Spectrum right now, and for the promotional price, the Spectrum is faster, but the T-Mobile, if you can kind of judge what your experience is going to be by what kind of signal you have on your phones on a daily basis, and then that way you can kind of figure out what part of the house to put it in.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get it close to a window or something like that. But I didn't have any problem with like Zoom or Teams or TV. I use Philo. I don't use the YouTube TV, or I use Philo. This is only streaming. And I didn't have any problem watching TV shows or anything. I don't know if the quality of the video went down, but I can't see that anyway. So I didn't have a problem with it. The only reason that I switched to Spectrum is because for the same price they were offering me a lot faster speed. And I know that T-Mobile, they're always coming out with different gateways, different devices, to the routers or whatever, the modems, and they're constantly working on the speed. So, but you get about 100 Mbps or whatever it is
Very good. Very good.
down.
So to
So,
to take for what everybody's saying, let's just kind of split it out, right? So Spectrum, your cable company. Verizon, they have a Fios line. They also do Uverse, or you have AT&T that does Uverse, and then they do fiber. So these are your main three that I've seen here, and then MetroNet is in the Midwest and coming out to this area too. These companies are going to give you that box, and then it, installs in the house, yada yada yada. Now, in my research this past couple of weeks, I've been looking at different carriers and such that Verizon has an at-home service, and as everybody has stated, that when you see 5G, that means they're using a different type of service to you. It's not a fiber, FiOS, or anything like that. It's basically like Kevin alluded to, is using your same signal that your phone is giving off.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm-hmm.
it's not always the best. And then if you have IoT devices such as speakers and the Google Nest and yada yada yada, and light bulbs, I like to have my light bulbs do different colors and different things during different
Mm-hmm.
shows. So it's best that I have something that's more reliable. That even if I wanted to buy like a Google Wi-Fi router, and then just bringing internet, right? Spectrum with this a gig could cost you as low as $50. Give you that example, because of the ACP and other different programs and stuff. It's worth looking at and seeing what programs are available to you. But it's always best to go during promotion time, because that's where they'll put you in for the year. But let's just say if you have Spectrum one year and then next year AT&T gives you a deal, why not? I mean, with AT&T, what I liked about them when I used them is 1 gig up and 1 gig down. So it
Yeah.
was amazing, fiber symmetric. But then then you're back at Spectrum and you're like, man, it's a gig, but you're only going to give me 40 megs up? Seriously? And so the pricing it becomes a battle about pricing, because AT&T
Mm-hmm.
was only charging you the same price. So just be weary of what companies you might be kind of going through, or what they're really offering you. Because the word Wi-Fi is a term that they're now, trying to sell this 5G and this other stuff to you. But is it really worth your money? Because to me, I think something like a Spectrum, AT&T fiber, Verizon fiber, that's going to help me, because then I have my own network in the house, and even if it's an apartment, you'll have opportunities for promotions. So if you could keep up your bill and stay on that promotion, that's the best way to navigate these things. Because you got to remember, we have our Fire Sticks, and you guys alluded to that your guys' Fire Sticks are stuttering. I wonder if it's your bandwidth, because I remember I have the original Fire Stick, which is like a square box. Matter of fact, they sent it to me because Bosch wasn't working. And so I remember talking to Amazon Disability Support, and hey, I wanted audio description. I'm paying all this, but they helped me through it. And now we're guaranteed that any TV shows or originals, they more than likely will have audio description. Maybe not the movies, but the original programming does. So, with remembering all of these things, you're streaming, right? So it's taking data, it's moving
Mm-hmm.
data, it's using a screen reader. So even Spectrum is streaming their screen reader on their Spectrum box, because I've heard the Spectrum box stutter on me. So it's not to say that it's this device, that device. I've heard all of them stutter, but you just kind of you know deal with it at times, I guess. And all of this does highly, tie back into Android because we want flexibility, right? We want you might be able to get a tablet like Foster has alluded to, because I'd rather do that. Get a tablet. Why do I need to deal with a Fire Stick that's going to tell me or something that's going to tell me I'm out of space? I want to download my episodes. If I'm paying for it, let me have my device. So many ways of skinning a cat, as they say, but hopefully that answered somewhat of your question. And if you have more,
this is
Kevin.
Kevin.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
This is
Kevin,
Kevin.
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say that also one advantage is that to the T-Mobile is that I ran the trial at the same time, so they'll give you a trial, so you can have the box there and compare it with what your needs are with the Wi-Fi that you have right now. So you already have Wi-Fi through Comcast or Xfinity or whatever. So just run the trial, even if you're never going to switch, but just take advantage of the trial and just see if you're able to do the things that you want to do. Because I have 2 or 3 TVs, I have 100 Alexa devices, 100 Google Homes. Nothing stuttered, nothing stopped, nothing like that was the best 100 Mbps that I've had, and I only had like 3 bars max. And it never got full, so up to the maximum bars. So it wasn't the best reception, but it's still nothing
solid. Yeah.
Gave me any trouble.
Go ahead, Joel.
Hi. One thing that's kind of related that just came up for me was I tend to be kind of cheap and always looking for a bargain. And I had I had been interested in digital television, my digital television signal before, and didn't get very good results. But with my new TV, when I bought a very inexpensive, digital television antenna, um, I was shocked that it pulled in, I think more than 60 channels. Now, all those channels, I mean, that includes like, like shopping channels and some Spanish channels and things like that. But for the most part, I can get a decent signal on my local channels from that for free, except for the advertising. And that might be an option for some people if you're lucky enough to live, close to a transmission tower, or you live someplace where the reception is good. I know it's not right for everybody, but I wound up being very surprised. Anyway, or digital TV is like what the old TV that we used to get through our rabbit ears.
Right.
It's the new version of that.
Yep. Okay. And Mr. Richard, you had a thought to say.
Yes, sir. You had mentioned the Affordable Act program, and I am one of the people on that, and I've been on it. And the particular area where I am, and others out there that's on this call, I would definitely look into if you're having struggles, you're on these support, and you're getting these support. I would definitely look into it and be careful getting into it, because yes, it will help pay your bills and everything, but I'm not going to be able to get a phone. I mean, it says you can do this, and it's a half off with the phone. We afford a phone, and I'm saying, yeah. By the time I pay the rest of my bills, I'm broke. I can't even get the phone. That even the amount you want me to pay, I can't do it, because it's just too much, and I cannot have another provider. Optimum owns the area. I don't like how they did this. They call it a monopoly, so I can't get another provider here, and everybody in this area cannot get any other internet service. It's all straight Optimum. No cable provider, nothing. So Spectrum won't come in this area. I've called into Poughkeepsie because they're there. They own Poughkeepsie, and so I can't get another provider. So my Affordable Act pays for a cell phone, and everything is free. The cell phone and everything is free that I get ordered and sent to me through another insurance company, and it does the same thing.
Yes, and to mention, Mr. Richard, there are a couple of different programs. One mentioned that you're mentioning sounds like a different program than maybe I'm speaking about. But I just heard this came out in August or July or August or something through this administration. So if you go to FCC or even type in, I think it's Affordable Connectivity Program or something.
Right. Yes. If you're on food stamps, SNAP, and everything, there's two
a couple
separate
different
ones.
programs. Right. So this is coming straight from FCC. You do have to sign up for it, and then once you
Right.
do, your provider will, like Spectrum already knew that I already signed up for it, so they already automatically discounted me. I didn't have to give them extra numbers or anything else. So I mean, if it helps us save us a couple dollars, or maybe for other individuals that might want to be looking for a new phone, maybe they're buying a Motorola, and heck, if they take $100 off or something, it might help them, right? I haven't delved into it too deep, but from just basic reading on the net, that's what I found. And again, we want to make sure that we're all connected and we have information in front of us. So, if it's watching the news, if it's getting to iBug today and coming here, we just want to make sure you guys have the resources for yourselves.
That is correct what you say, Hershey. Yes, it's coming from the FCC, and they once you sign in, and they say you're approved and you're eligible. That's when they say call your provider.
Correct.
So you actually have the choice of calling whoever your provider is.
Exactly. Yep.
Or you can call a whole nother area entity and call them. So that the application you sent in and to get you activated, that just opens the door for you to say whoever now you want to call. Okay, you do qualify for this, that, so you can call up maybe your cable company where you get your internet, this, that, or you can call these other companies that are available that send you a phone for free, and they give you internet and everything for free too. It's your option after you do the sign up and application. It's your choice.
Quick tip on the word free. Whenever any company says you get a free phone or free this, who's going to pay for your data? Always remember that. Who's paying for that bill every month after you got it for free, right? Because that phone needs to be used some way. So when they give it to you for free, I remember my mother, same thing happened to her. They gave her a free tablet. T-Mobile did. And I used it. I talked back. It was decent. It was Alcatel, yeah. But, it worked. But then you look at the bill, and it's like, why do I have a Alcatel SIM card here? What is this? And you don't want to be snuck up on, right? So just little experiences that I'm giving you. I know Ava's not here. She's our Amazon woman, and I'm sorry we aren't answering all your Amazon questions tonight. But, like I said, we have a few more minutes here. If anybody has more questions, I'll leave it to you.
This is Shay. I have a question.
Go ahead,
the little accessibility icon that's usually down at the lower right-hand side of my phone, it went away when I added reading mode and a magnifier, and that's just fine. It's got like a floating taskbar, and you can flick it over to the side, and then you've got your little accessibility guy, and he's really small, but he's on the edge anywhere you want to put him out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he goes away completely, and I don't know why. I think it might just be a glitch, but does anybody else have that experience?
Anybody want to help me, Shay, with this question? If not, I could.
Do you have what type of phone do you have?
Galaxy A32.
Okay. When I had my Galaxy phone, it did happen a few times. I used to have to go and activate it again. But I have a Pixel now, and I have they have a little floating thing now that has disappeared on me here and there. Sometimes it comes back when I restart. I don't know why. And now you're making me think about it. It's like, okay, I guess I should probably ask somebody about it, because it has happened to me and I don't know why. And I haven't put in a question to anybody about that yet. So I guess I will probably do that.
Miss Shay, so let me ask you these questions. One, you want to use magnification?
It asked me, I said yes, and now I can't figure out how to get it off, so it doesn't bother me, but I don't really use it.
Okay, I mean, not a problem. I just want to know what tool, because this is the thing with all these shortcuts and Pixel and Samsung. Um, when you do go to Samsung, go to accessibility.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember if it's under advanced settings or towards the end, but I think it says advanced. And you'll see something that says about floating buttons or such that. And you could email us on the list as well, and I could give you more details or walk you through it. But there's two types of this shortcut button. One was the button that you alluded to with the thing on the bottom. Then
Uh-huh.
there's a floating button, which the
Hmm.
floating button you could make it as big as you want, small as you want, and then you could change the transparency on it. So if you
Yes.
want it after 5 seconds to disappear on you, it'll do that for you, because
Hmm.
maybe you're looking at a YouTube thingamajig and you don't want it all up in your way because it's a
Yeah.
little dot that gets in the way. So to go through those different settings, like these are my settings, and maybe this might give you a little perspective. I
Hmm.
use color inversion, and
Hmm.
I use magnification, and then I use a screen reader, right? Talkback.
Hmm.
So for using magnification, I do the triple tap with one finger on the screen, and I set that as my shortcut for magnification because I don't like setting it up any other way. It's the fastest way for me. Then when it comes to my screen reader, my shortcut for that is volume up and power, because that's how I turn on talkback on and off instantaneously. I don't have to hold volume up and down for 3 seconds and then wait for
Hmm.
it and wait. I don't. I rather set that to something that is like reading mode. So holding down volume up and volume down, I could wait 3 seconds and then it says reading mode on. Okay, now I'm reading. I'm on a website. Now I've turned on this reading mode thing. But I
Hmm.
could let the volume up and volume down direct that shortcut to the reading mode. And then for magnification, you could direct it to triple tap with one finger. And then for talkback, as I mentioned, you could have it volume up and power. So their menus, once you go under accessibility, you'll see like talkback, screen reader, da 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 da.
Hmm.
It might be under screen reader, but I want to say it's below that. So it's below hearing impaired. It's below dexterity. I think there's another sub menu called advanced or something or another.
Hmm.
And under that menu specifically is where this floating button and accessibility and shortcuts, and that's where all this stuff lives.
Hmm.
And that accessibility button that you had at the bottom right hand corner, that's what that button was. Is that's some people like that because if they're visual, they could just tap constantly on the bottom bar. I like
Hmm.
using gestures, so I don't have a home, back, or whatever button. I just use gestures to go to home by swiping with two fingers from the bottom up, or swiping from the left edge to the left. That goes back. And if I want to do recents, I do swipe up and hold in the middle. But for some people, dexterity and other issues, you might like pushing home, back, or accessibility, and that just gets you to places quicker. So if you needed to turn on color inversion and other things, maybe the
Hmm.
accessibility button might be useful for you. So test them out, play with it. It's your own prerogative to what you like. So I hope that kind of gives you a starting point.
Very much so. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, folks, it is 2 minutes till showtime, and you know what? Maybe we'll see what happens. But what should we call the show title, perhaps, if we do go that route? Should we call show title so we could figure out what episode was what? Like, what do you guys think about the way everything has been going so far? 2 minutes, go. Oh man, don't talk at once now.
You mean like when we go into YouTube and
Yeah,
pull up prior videos?
yeah.
Um,
Are you guys having an easy time to find it and stuff? Is there any other feedback that you guys want to give us?
I find things pretty easy because I usually remember about when they were from. But
Okay.
if I am looking for something specific on TalkBack, that might be nice to have it noted. But then is that going to just be all jumbled up, having big long titles? I don't know.
Okay. Well, I know today was like a TV bonanza. It felt like we talked about
Yeah.
TV stuff quite a bit, but again, it's all on the Android platform. I know, why are we talking about TV? What does that have to do? We need entertainment. We need the news. We need information. So how can you get that information on your phone, your tablet, your TV? So I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit from today, and thank you to everyone that has joined us tonight. And I've learned quite a bit too, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I love this. This is my favorite call. I really appreciate that you're here. Thank you.
Not a problem. Well, thank you so much. And with that, it's 1 minute till show's end, and I will leave you all to it. Again, to the website, ibugtoday.com. If you want to join the mailing list, send us a blank email at ibugandroidinsight, INSIGHT, plus subscribe at groups.io. And of course, find us on YouTube because that's where I like to live. And if you have any questions, throw some comments. Heck, you could comment on the videos, I think. So if you have any other questions, feel free. Thank you all.
Thanks, Hirsch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure.
Take care.
Take care.